What is up, everybody? It's your boy. I am the ophthalmologist of optimism. I am the custodian of charisma. This is Brady of the Heel Marks, one half of the Heel Marks. Danielle, the sorceress of sass, the sultan of sarcasm, everyone's favorite winter coat, is not with me this week. She's actually in Vegas. She's there for the Super Bowl, and I'm pretty sure right now she's at a celebrity football game, maybe baseball game. She's at a celebrity something game. Team Tracy McGrady versus someone else. I forget. But that's where Danielle is. But this is where Brady is, right here with you guys on another edition of Mark of Honor, everyone's favorite and the world's greatest Ring of Honor post show. Once again, pretty sure we're the only Ring of Honor post show, which makes claiming to be the best even easier. Guys, wherever you're watching on the BodySlamNet network, go ahead. If you're watching on YouTube, give a subscribe, give a like button. Guys, do not be afraid to go ahead, support the show, support the network at slamchats.com. Also, this week, as you'll notice, I'm by myself, which means I need you guys more than ever. Join the comment section, join the conversation. Let me know what you thought about Ring of Honor. Let me know what you think about anything. We can just talk. For example, last week it came up that on Family Matters, Harriet Winslow was Aunt Viv'd in the last season. And somebody in the live chat did let us know that it was because Harriet had problems with Jaleel White. Well, I did my research after the show, and that's not true. She left for other reasons, one being she was going through a divorce, another being she tried to leave after the last season, thought the show should end. But then they were like, well, we're actually switching networks and we need you to help us do that. So she did that. But then in the middle of the season, she's like, I'm out. So for anyone who listened and watched last week and you were curious about why Harriet Winslow got Aunt Viv'd, there it is. Now on to Ring of Honor. Tonight we had another Ring of Honor show, as we do. And this one started with the Workhorsemen, JD Drake and Anthony Henry, defeating Cyrus and Brillante RB, both making their debuts with Ring of Honor tonight. I mean, this is what you come to expect from the Workhorsemen. Their name speaks volumes about who they are. We've been very open on this show about how we love the Workhorsemen, not only because we've been watching them on the indies for years, but JD Drake has been a guest of our show, The Heel Marks. He is an amazing guy, just inside the ring, outside the ring, super nice, an amazing interview we had with him. We're probably gonna have to get him back on the show. But watching him, whether if it's Ring of Honor, whether it's AEW, just watching him and Anthony Henry get highlighted as the versatile team that they are, as the powerhouse, the agile, the high flying, literally they can do it all. Submission specialist. You know, JD Drake is the chop father. And we got to see that tonight. Whenever I see them going up against like two relatively skinny high flyers, you just know their chests are about to put that work in, because JD Drake is coming with the chops. I love this match. I mean, I love these guys really, and I just love the fact that they're being highlighted as a tag team that can be a threat to the tag team champions. Speaking of which, yeah, the tag team champions are not on this week's show. The Ring of Honor TV champion, not on this week's show. The Ring of Honor champion has not been seen since he won the Triple Crown tournament. The only champion we got tonight was Athena. It's just confused. Like, I'm tired of complaining about it every week. You know what I mean? Like, because at this point, I guess I get it. I guess this is just how it works, because the Ring of Honor roster and the AEW roster are essentially indistinguishable from each other, right? Tony Khan is just mixing and matching and putting people wherever just to get them on TV for that week. So our Ring of Honor champions, they aren't being forgotten about. It's not like if all of a sudden the Intercontinental Champion Gunther just stopped showing up and they stopped talking about him or mentioning him. No, like that's not what this is. These champions are just being used for Dynamite or Rampage or Collision or any show that AEW boss Tony Khan has deemed more important than Ring of Honor, which just makes Ring of Honor seem not as important, which is crazy since Ring of Honor is the only show he produces that you actually have to pay to watch. You have to join the Honor Club. AEW Dynamite is free as long as you have TBS, TNT, whatever network you're showing it on. You would think that at some point they would want to make these Ring of Honor shows feel as special as possible by doing the bare minimum of putting their champions on the show. But once again, I feel like I'm just talking to a wall because nothing ever changes. So I don't really know what, I guess I just have to accept that we get what we get and we don't get upset. You know what I mean? Speaking of, we got Ethan Page defeating Aaron Solo. Listen, the crowd got really loud for Page, which I love to see, but I kind of spoke last week about how I wish I'm kind of ready for Ethan Page to move on from the Ring of Honor part of this story. And I realize we haven't told it yet because his Ring of Honor story has to end with him winning championship gold. But I don't know. Like this story's like, I love everything they're doing with him. But when he's challenging the TV champion and the TV champion just decides to disappear for a month after he first says it, and now you kind of got him going up against glorified jobbers. You know what I mean? And how do I take this match, this win serious? Not to mention the fact, and listen, it was a good match. And this is why I compare Ring of Honor. It's kind of become a televised indie show again. Because on indie shows, it doesn't matter who is in the ring. A main eventer versus a guy having his first match. If they are on the card, the goal is to give the crowd the best match possible. If you get 15 minutes, then you guys are going to go back and forth in 15 minutes, and you're going to make those 15 minutes count, right? Excuse me. So I get it, but at the same time, you're telling a story with Page that he is ready. He's doing his time, and he feels like he's ready to be a champion. He's bringing gold home for his daughter, right? He's challenging Kyle Fletcher, who's been unstoppable, and I'm pretty sure undefeated since winning the championship, if not beforehand, as far as Ring of Honor television is concerned. Certainly in singles bouts, he hasn't been beaten by anyone anytime soon. So if Page is challenging that guy, Aaron Solo kind of should be a breeze. And don't get me wrong, I don't expect this to be a squash match, but this match didn't end because Page, got the upper hand, became dominant, and took him to school. No, like Solo had him down, got caught putting his foot on the ropes. Then he pulled a rookie move and got too distracted with the referee and bothering him, and Ethan Page took advantage. Are these qualities in winners? Yes. So in that level, sure. And if commentary told us that story about, look at Ethan Page, always finding an opportunity, always seizing the moment, champions do this. You know who does it, Riccaboni? Champions do this. If they told that story, then great. But that story wasn't told. So instead, the only story I can take as a viewer, as a spectator, is the story told in the ring, and that is that Ethan Page needed to take advantage to beat Aaron Solo. Aaron Solo, who has not beaten anybody, not won anything, not done anything of note other than losing competitive matches. So I do think Ethan Page need to step this up in terms of this story. Let's get Ethan Page, let's get him back to credible wins. If you're going to keep him away from Fletcher. But I'll be honest, at this point, and we talk about it every week with Ring of Honor, there's only like 2, maybe 3 stories that they actually tell every show. And other than that, you're kind of just getting matches, right? So if this is one of those stories, it's time for us to continue it with Kyle Fletcher actually getting involved. Because for weeks now, Ethan Page has been calling out Kyle Fletcher, has been stating loud and proud that he's coming for his title. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we've seen Kyle Fletcher even respond. We didn't see a smirk. We didn't see a laugh. We didn't see a roll of the eyes. We didn't see a fired up Kyle Fletcher watching one of Ethan Page's matches backstage and then looking at his title like, oh, this guy's coming for it, isn't he? No, we've gotten nothing. So that seems silly. And it's just, once again, it's one of those things that makes me sad as an ROH fan, because if this was happening as part of an AEW programming, Don Callis would have already acknowledged Ethan Page, would have already answered in some way, shape, or form. But because it happens in Ring of Honor, it's okay to just kind of ignore it. The fact that And the fact that Page had to capitalize, and the fact that he's facing like Aaron Solo, and this is kind of the second week in a row we've kind of seen him have a match he has to kind of convince us it means something, because on paper you kind of don't really think it does. This almost lets me know the TV title match isn't happening soon. That, and as I said, Kyle Fletcher just completely ignoring him. I don't know if they're saving it for the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view, and I don't even know if they've announced the next Ring of Honor pay-per-view, so maybe that's it. At this point, they're kind of, this is the match they want to get to. They've announced it, they've teased it, and now they're just kind of treading water until they're ready to pull that trigger. Very, very possible. Very possible if that's what we get. We got a great tag team match with El Hijo del Vikingo and Penta El Zero Miedo defeating John Cruz and KM. Cruz and KM are fun jobbers. Like they're well known enough. They've each made moments in plenty of other squash matches they've been on the losing side of. So at this point, it's like these guys do belong on the show. I'd eventually like to see wins for them. I feel like at some point, like there are certain jobbers that kind of connect with the audience to the point where you can kind of pull the trigger whenever you feel like it and make them kind of have them graduate from jobbers to featured talent, right? I feel like they could be ready. But this was what it was. It was a showcase for the High Flyers, a showcase for Vikingo and Penta. And it was a good one. I here's my thing though. Let's call a spade, right? Ring of Honor is at the bottom of the barrel when it comes to all the content, the 4 shows a week that Tony Khan is producing, right? Both of these guys, Vikingo and Penta, are honestly too good for this show and this match. Like, and listen, if you want to get them on Ring of Honor card and actually use them as superstars, as a tag team, we've seen Vikingo here for a while, so I get it. But this is a tag team showcase match. This is just giving us a match where these guys are able to look good as a tag team. This match, you could do that for these guys on Dynamite, on Rampage, on Collision, any one of them. This shouldn't be happening here. The ROH tag division, and there's so many people that actually can be used and would be used more in Ring of Honor, like across the board, that I like. For me, I would have rather see another tag team get this spot. It's like I feel like even Butcher and Blade, who is another tag team where like they show up on AEW every once in a while. So who are they? Are they ROH? Are they AEW? Who knows? I almost feel like they would be better served in a showcase match like this, because Vikingo and Penta will probably be on AEW and should be on AEW. You know what I mean? Like they could both main event your shows. They have main evented your shows. You're not utilizing Butcher and Blade like that. So let's get them this showcase match. That them come out looking like the dominant monsters they are, and possibly set them up for anything down the line. A tag team title shot on either program. You know, you've got new AEW tag team champions. Butcher and Blade seem like a solid team to be like probably the first title defense, or one of the first title defense, because, you know, you want to stack those up until Sting eventually leaves. So why not use ROH as a way to build up Butcher and Blade, a team that could potentially take them on? You're not doing that with Vikingo and Penta. So you know what I mean? But I don't know. Maybe I'm just splitting hairs, guys. Let me know in the comment section. Let me know what you guys thought. If you guys were with us last week, you caught Danielle and my predictions, and your boy was correct with exactly what Dalton Castle was going to do. Dalton Castle continues to be an absolute highlight of every night, every Ring of Honor show he's on. I mean, this is one of the few stories that they're actually telling, and it's absolute lunacy. I mean, it's all off the wall. But Dalton Castle is just such an entertaining performer, an entertaining character, that he's just owning it. Everything from like the beginning of the show, when Lexi and Jerry Lynn are trying to get into Dalton's friend's locker room, which of course is labeled Dalton's friend, priceless. Then Dalton is in there, of course, and being very, very coy about, oh yeah, my friend is busy. He's busy. And then when Dalton's friend eventually does come out, his friend being Hombre Pavo Real de Montana, it is, of course, Dalton Castle. And just as Danielle and I were talking about it, when I like, because Danielle's literally like, who do you think it is going to be? And I forget who she guessed, but she guessed somebody. And I'm looking at it and I'm just kind of like, I think it's going to be Dalton Castle. Like, with like, not even like, we've seen it done in the past where people pretend to be luchadors. Like, no, like he's definitely, and we joked about like maybe he would have like the glasses wig or the fake mustache. He goes with the hat and like the fake hipster beard. So good, so hilarious, especially the fact that other than that and a jacket, he's in the same exact Dalton Castle outfit that he wears every week, the same outfit we just saw him in backstage. There was zero effort to actually hide this from anyone, which was the most hilarious part of the gag, right? The fact that there was no effort in. This is distraught Dalton Castle at his finest. And the Johnny TV and Ty are playing off him perfectly also. Because just as serious as Dalton is not, Johnny TV's taking this very serious. Like, he was very proud of himself for knowing that it was Dalton. He's like, we know it's you. I love, by the way, Riccaboni's response. As soon as Johnny TV says, we know it's you, he's like, how can they be so sure? Perfect. Like, from Lexi to Jerry to Dalton to Dalton's friend to Johnny to the commentary team, everyone's playing off this lunacy absolutely great. I mean, they're really selling it. And Dalton saying, I'm not Dalton, I'm somebody different. And then eventually Taya challenging him to essentially speak Spanish with her because he went with a Spanish name. He then responds that he doesn't know how to speak Spanish, and then he starts getting booed. I wonder if that's why he immediately then like took off the wig and revealed it was him. Because all of a sudden, not knowing Spanish was starting to get him some real heat. Like, this whole thing was ridiculous, especially Johnny TV's reasoning for not wanting to face him, which is that he smells like cheese and he's not TV ready, of course. And Dalton Castle says he's going to Jackson Pollock Johnny's ribs and kick Taya in the Georgia O'Keeffe. Like, this whole thing is just right up my alley, guys. Like, I'm sorry, but this is like stoner humor to its finest. And so I'm honestly, also, let's face it, both these guys can go, right? These are two of the better workers on this program every single week. So I'm looking forward to the match. And this program has just been entertaining the entire time. Ring of Honor entertainment's not always their first thought, right? Me and Danielle talked about it. We never get in-ring promos from Ring of Honor. It's mostly backstage interviews and stuff like that, segments that were pre-taped. So most of the stuff for the live crowd is in-ring action. It's matches. Okay, they're not always utilizing characters and a microphone. This was kind of a rare in-ring promo segment we got. It was supposed to be a match, but then it ended up talking with Johnny TV and Dalton Castle talking in the ring. So this, like, we somehow finally got one, an in-ring promo segment. And I mean, I thought it was hilarious. I know it's not going to be for everyone. A lot of people are probably going to think it's stupid, but I think it's fun. And listen, the match has been confirmed. Johnny TV will face Dalton Castle. Dalton Castle will agree to anything. And the stipulation will be announced next week. We don't know. The stipulation almost seemed like it's like Dalton's going to... Basically, Johnny was like, you don't have anything I want, so why would I fight you? So Johnny TV is going to come up with a stipulation where Dalton has to give up something. My guess? It'll be the boys. He's going to say you have to give up the boys. Now, I almost feel like maybe they won't go with that, because as much as I feel like that's an idea they would do, it loses a bit of its luster because of the fact that we talked about this last week, but Dalton Castle, every once in a while, it seems like he has different boys. So the established connection with his boys, the ones he uses as steps and as benches, and the ones that fan him and he feeds them peacock feed, like that connection kind of is in the wayside now because we've seen him with just random boys here and there. He'll get fanned by anybody these days. So there's a chance they don't go that way. There's the predictable one where he tells Dalton Castle, if you lose, you're fired. You lose, you leave Ring of Honor. Maybe Dalton Castle has to do, like, he has to almost join Johnny TV. Like, he has to be his butler, or Johnny TV has to get him TV ready. Like, you have to let me get you TV ready. You have to get a makeover or something like that. It depends. What the stakes are and how deep they go will probably determine my prediction for who wins this feud. Because at this point, even though we worked so hard to get to them finally having a match, it kind of still feels like it's just getting started, right? So it almost seems like Johnny TV has to win. But like I said, if Johnny TV goes with something like you lose, you're fired, good chance I'm going to think Dolphin's winning it. But if Johnny TV comes up with a stipulation that carries, consequences and repercussions as it pertains to Dalton's future, you have to dress like this, you have to act like this, you have to do this for me, then Johnny TV's winning, and we're guaranteed at least another month of entertainment between these guys. So ridiculous, this thing, but I love it. I can't help but love it. Another thing I love is STP. We got a promo from them, and they called out anyone on AEW or the Ring of Honor roster, and they basically said, if you are tired of being overlooked and underused, come fight with us. So I think we're getting a sign, and I've been calling for this, but STP needs to grow. Shane Taylor Promotions is a great name for a stable, not really a tag team. So having it just be Shane and Lee isn't cutting it anymore, and it doesn't look like that's what we're going to be getting anymore. It looks like he is going to get new blood, and it seems like that new blood may come from anywhere. AEW, Ring of Honor, who knows? It's interesting that he said AEW first, which is like just another thing. It's like they keep reminding us that we're watching a second or third rate show. They keep reminding us, even the origin of Ethan Page's story has been he wants to be AEW champion. And to do that, he has to go to Ring of Honor to win gold. You know what I mean? He essentially described Ring of Honor and any prize he wins as a stepping stone, as a stepping stool to get him to greener pastures, which is AEW. So, I mean, I just wish they would treat ROH like its own brand and not like AEW's step cousin, twice removed. By the way, I don't know what twice removed means, and at this point, I'm too embarrassed to ask. We also got a backstage segment where Cole Carter and Griff Harrison were beating up Serpentico, or were they? No, they were beating up a fake Serpentico. Angelico then came to his aid. He was too late, but he came to check on him, and that was apparently just a setup for them to beat up Angelico. And then Angelico's left laying with fake Serpentico, and then real Serpentico comes and I mean, doesn't really rescue them, but he tends to them. He's very, very concerned. I don't know, man. I mean, listen, I'm glad they're getting another storyline involved. We got this feud, but at this point, it's just tough. I mean, Griff Garrison and Cole Carter seem like they have. They're getting pushed. They got the future ahead of them with Maria by their side. Ring of Honor's been showing them a lot of good attention. Serpentico and Angelico, not so much. They've only been used as jobbers and not even consistently face jobbers. They're heels one week, they're faces the next, and now they're being used in like only the third angle that this show. It's just it's a head scratcher. But listen, I can get with it. It does seem like they're just going to keep getting their asses kicked, though, because Griff Garrison and Cole Carter have been dominating this whole feud. Speaking of dominating, Billy Starks defeats Aria Thorne. But Nyla Rose is the talking point of this. Nyla Rose, she comes down with a table, and by the way, Billy wins her match with a brutal looking submission. And while she has the submission, she's staring Nyla in the face. So I like that. I like the little fire out of Billy. Nyla comes down. Billy could have acted scared. Billy could have done the stupid thing and gotten so distracted, but no. Billy kept it together. And as I said, dominated Thorne, staring Nyla right in her eyes. But then we get another back and forth promo. That's right, because Nyla's got a microphone. And Nyla, once again, this is her continuing to take over the minions. Lexi has already pledged herself to Nyla, but Nyla needs Billy Starks to pledge her loyalty to her. Not to be, though. Surprise, bitches. Athena, the ROH Women's Champion, is back. And while Nyla's wondering if Billy heed her last hog and if Nyla's going to have to put her through a table, Athena shows up and, in fact, puts Nyla Rose through the table. First things first, I don't know who's a face anymore. I've been talking ever since Nyla Rose attacked Athena in her dojo, ever since Nyla stepped into this role as basically unofficial unofficial number one contender for the women's championship. I kind of thought Nyla was an instant face because Athena's been such a heel this entire time. And every week, Nyla's been doing hilarious things and she's been playing to the crowd. So I'm kind of thinking she's a face. But I don't know, because Athena got a pretty grand return and she got a pretty good response. And now that I think about it, Nyla hasn't done anything babyface. She attacked Athena from behind in her dojo. She's tried to take over her group. She's tormented poor Lexi. And now she's been trying to stalk Billy Stark for weeks now. Athena makes her grand return and defends her minion. So maybe Nyla's been a heel this whole time and Athena's been face. Athena has been the one home and hurt these past few weeks. A very babyface tactic. I don't really know. They do close the show with this angle as well. Establishing this as one of the primary stories they're telling. That was a good spot. We were getting a returning women's champion. She's the only champion on the show. So yeah, I don't mind the fact that in addition to this segment, they also closed the show. It's one of those things where you never know what's going to happen, because it seemed like they were just kind of going to close it with Athena giving a sign-off promo, right? Because it's her house and she's back. The minions are all happy. She sends the minions to get the car. She's got M&Ms in the car. They're all ready to party tonight. She's giving the message saying, Nyla, it's time for me to put you down. But nope, surprise, bitch. Nyla Rose shows up and puts her right through a table. What are my spidey senses telling me? They're telling me we're going to get a tables match between these two, and I'm not hating it. Hello, Dragon Slayer. What's up in the live chat? Let us know, guys. Let us know what you're thinking about this one. I'm thinking it's a table match for the women's champion. I'm kind of hoping we saw Nyla get put through a table earlier. We see the show close with Athena getting put through a table. So, it just, the math is mathing on this one. I do wonder if this is how we get Nyla Rose to become champion. Athena's held the title for a long time. They're already starting to claim that she is one of the greatest Ring of Honor champions they've ever had. It's not a statement that I'm going to disagree with, certainly. But when they start talking about that, you kind of start wondering, okay, wait a minute. Does that mean this reign's coming to a close? Nyla Rose is someone I think would make a great Ring of Honor women's champion. I do think it'd be better if she was winning as a face. I think the crowd would be more likely to get behind her. I don't know what, like I said, I don't really know anymore. I don't know who turned and I don't know when it happened. So at this point, I just got to wait and see. I'm still thinking Nyla is the babyface, but Athena does seem like somebody where, like, she, as I said, they're talking about how great of a champion she is. she's getting acknowledged by Swerve on AEW Dynamite as one of the best wrestlers to ever touch the ring. So she's getting a lot of high praise. That might mean she's reaching babyface status. Someone who's not reaching babyface status is Diamante. She established herself in this match as like the main heel, the main bitch to go against in this one. She did defeat Layla Hirsch, Kiera Hogan, and Trish Adora in a 4-corner survival match. Fun match from the ladies. I wish... Listen, all right. So on one hand, I'm very happy about this match. This is a great match. As I said, all 4 women delivered, and Diamante gets a well-needed win because normally she's losing these type of matches. She's in these matches all the time. Unless we see Diamante with a jobber, for the most part, she's been losing these type of matches. So it's good to see her get one. I wish Ring of Honor would limit these matches, though. The main event, we're going to get to it, but the main event is a 4-corner survival match as well. Whenever I'm playing like WWE 2K and I'm playing like GM mode or whatever, I'll always use like 4-way matches because it's an easy way to get everyone on the card. And for me to play, obviously those matches are more fun, but you can't ever use those type of matches in like a rivalry match, right? Because you're not telling a story. So with the women, they've been doing these matches all the time. And it's mainly because, like I said, they're just trying to get all these women on the card. And because they all go and they give them like 10, 15 minutes, they kind of look at it as, oh, it's a win, you got on the card. Like I said, it's all indie thinking. But in reality, these matches are all being used to showcase these women for the Ring of Honor TV championship that's coming up soon, right? So Diamante, I feel like, has been hyped up for this. Layla Hirsch has been hyped up for this. Even in Defeat, we get a backstage segment with her and Rachel talking about what they're going to do, how they have each other's back going into it. It really seems like they are telegraphing the fact that Layla and Rachel are going to face each other in the tournament. That seems more than obvious. I hope they don't start off with them. I hope that's not like a first round or a qualifying match. I hope they can both get at least one victory under their belts, one move up in there, and then they match up. First round would be a bummer for me, I think, because then it would be obvious that whoever loses would probably inadvertently cost the winner a future match in that tournament. I know who wants predictable shit, right? But no, Diamante, this was a great match. Great showing from Diamante. I think that all 4 deserve more chances to show their personality. Kiera Hogan in particular. I mean, Kiera Hogan was really a shining star when she was with TNA Impact. Her and Tasha Steele just really got to show up their character and their in-ring ability. She comes over to AEW. We get a little bit with her and Jade and the Baddie Squad. And then they just kind of forgot about her. And now she's just there. And I feel like that's a real big waste of her talent. Kiera Hogan is good. Kiera Hogan has a solid character. She's got a lot of sass and a lot of attitude to her. And the girl can go. Trish Adora as well. Trish Adora can get so over if they let her. I've been clamoring for weeks about, like, give her the mic. Trish Adora did not come out with her boys, the Infantry, this week. Another miss, I think. And I think it's a miss that they didn't come out with her. Like last week, I kind of applauded that they did come out together and they all looked like a bigger deal because of it. I love intergender stables or even just intergender pairings because it's just a fun way to get people on different aspects of the show, get them on a show more than once. The more you see someone, the more you're going to remember them, man. Like, people need to remember Trish Adora. They need to know how special she is. And if ROH doesn't have their thumb on the pulse to, like, figure out, like, okay, this is what we're doing with her now, like, just give her more chances to stand out. Give her a microphone, please, and thank you. Please and thank you. Speaking of please and thank you to STP, in mainly Lee Moriarty, because as they were making their entrance for this, Lee, he kind of pulls an Oscar from the Royal Rumble. He puts his hand up, and Nicole and Griff go to give him a high five, and he just leaves him hanging. Just, it made me chuckle. What can I say? It made me chuckle. But this was a fun match where we got STP, Shane Taylor, and Lee Moriarty versus Griff Garrison. I'm sorry, teaming with Griff Garrison and Cole Carter. They defeated the Infantry. They defeated the Iron Savages. I actually really liked this match. This was a fun one. If this match main evented any show, I wouldn't be mad at it. These are really fun teams. Griff Garrison and Cole Carter probably the least fun of them all, but Maria makes up for it. And Maria wants to get in on the fun in terms of Titty City, which I think is hilarious considering like back in the day, her gimmick was kind of distracting her clients, opponents, with her butt, shaking that thing. And now she's got mommy's milk makers and she's shaking them things. So listen, if Maria wants to take a trip to Titty City, I here will applaud and also laugh at that because it's all hilarious. But the Sauce Hoss is the real commander of Titty City, and he was throwing those titties around. Speaking of Sauce Hoss, Carly Bravo drank the sauce today, and that was not only hilarious, like that was fun. Like that was honestly brilliant. Bravo drinks the sauce and goes on a tear, not only just hitting like his own moves, but then kind of turning into an honorary Iron Savage, running around the ring, powering through people, similar to a Beefcake Boulder or a Dirty Bulk Bronson. It's almost like the sauce really got into him. Honestly, I feel like Bravo mimicking the Savage is like off the sauce was like, honestly, I think that whole tear probably could have and should have won the match. Obviously, they didn't win the match, but if they were going to, that would have been the spot to do it. And I honestly think that spot and what Carly Bravo did more to put the sauce over than anything that's been done yet. I'm curious to see if maybe we see these teams team up more likely if we see the Iron Savages team up with another random tag team or even just a singles wrestler, maybe someone else, we see them drink the sauce. And this just becomes a thing where different people unaffiliated with the Iron Savages will sip on the sauce and just be living large, just throwing people around. I think that could be fun. That could be fun. I honestly just wouldn't hate seeing Carly Bravo do it again. Carly Bravo, I cannot say enough about Carly Bravo. Carly Bravo really stands out every week. And I think I spoke about this like previously, but when I saw that they were putting Sean Dean and Carly Bravo together as the Infantry tag team, it really seemed like it was another way for them to try and utilize Sean Dean, another way for them to get him over. They've given him different shots, different opportunities. He's a guy they want to see do well. They see something in him. And it kind of just seemed like, okay, Carly Bravo's a guy they paired him with. This is going to make Sean Dean. And I listen, Sean Dean looks great as well, but Carly Bravo's really standing out to me. Carly Bravo's taking these moments and he's making them his own. And I think he finds, like I said, he's finding ways to stand out every single week in the ring. He's showcasing character. I'm just a big fan of, as he is now introduced, the new and improved Carly Bravo. He's making me a believer as far as the infantry is concerned. I just want to see more and more things from them. Beefcake and Sauce Hall, Beefcake and Shane Taylor. Big E was covering the Vegas press conference, but at one point he just started smiling and didn't know why. And it was because these big meaty men were mashing their meat together. It was fun. It was a fun, it was a fun meeting of the two powerhouses. I love when you see Powerhouse get to showcase his true power by overpowering somebody else just as big. And I love Lee Moriarty's flatliner. We've seen a lot of flatliners in the biz. I like his. I really do. And I like this match. The right team won. Like, I'm glad STP won because, once again, Shane Taylor just threw out an invitation or even a challenge, kind of. Hey, anyone, if you think this company's not using you right, are you being overlooked? Are you being underused? Are you tired of it? Come fight with us. You couldn't have them lose. And even if Griff Garrison and Cole Carter were somehow able to like cheat to win, it wouldn't have done what this win needed to do. Why does this match matter? Why does this win matter? It matters because Shane Taylor and Lee Moriarty, STP, got the W. They're winners. And they just threw out an open invitation to anyone who wants to join their winner circle. So I think it was a good decision, and I'm excited to see what's coming. Next week, when Danielle returns to this show, we're gonna have to go through the list and start making predictions on who we think. Because every week we make predictions on who we think is gonna face Kyle Fletcher. Kyle Fletcher hasn't been on this show in 3 weeks, so I think we might have to switch something up. We might have to make guesses on who's gonna join Shane Taylor Promotions. I've got a pick for somebody I'd love to see in him, but we'll get to that when we get to his match. That's right, he was on the show. Next match we got was big. Cassidy Lee Johnson, and he defeated Gravity. I'm sorry, before we get to that, actually, we did see Serpentico try to get revenge on Griff and Cole. Didn't work. They left them lay. So the story continues. Once again, we get Cassidy Lee. Cassidy Lee looks more like a star every week. He looks very confident when making his entrance. He looks very confident in the ring. Cassidy Lee just keeps growing. He looks like he belongs. This was a fun one, but let's be honest. When we get to these type of matches, I just don't know how much to say because this was your classic indie match. These are two guys that they're not really doing anything with. We know they want us to care about Big Cassidy Lee Johnson, and they want us to care about Gravity, but both these guys don't win very much. So you're going to get a good, fun, competitive match. At the end of the day, what does it do for either one? We're going to have to wait and see. We get Taya Valkyrie with Johnny TV. Both of them are TV ready. If you haven't heard, Taya defeats Killer Kate. Taya's another one. Taya looks like a big deal. She looks like a big deal when she makes her entrance. She looks like a big deal when she stands across from her opponent. Taya Valkyrie has been used perfectly ever since coming back. TV is headed for that TV championship with Johnny TV by her side. Killer Kate looked good against Billy last week. This was a bit more of a squash. As I said, this was a TV showcase. Most of the women, unless we're talking about like the Four Corner Survivor matches, it does seem like most of the women that get singles matches, it's just to spotlight them for this TV tournament. I'm done waiting. I'm ready for the tournament to begin. I do believe it's going to get started hopefully next week. If not starting next week, hopefully we at least get some brackets, get to hear some matchups. This takes us to the main event, and I will start with who I think should join Shane Taylor Promotions. Flamethrower Fox. AR Fox, such a big fan of him. I was so happy. I actually did mark out when I found that he was going to be on tonight's program. I was like, yes, I love AR Fox. This guy is one of the best workers in the business. He's one of the best trainers in the business. You don't even know it, but some of your favorite wrestlers were 100% trained by AR Fox. I guarantee it. The guy is money, and he has such a good connection with the audience if you just let it go organically. We kind of watched it happening in AEW before they kind of pulled the plug on him. And we saw it here tonight with the ROH audience. AR Fox is somebody you can strap that rocket to. Really, there's nothing he can't do. And they haven't given him the ability to showcase his character too much. We don't see him with a microphone too often. But if they let him like do his thing, he'd be untouchable. For example, we used to see him all the time working an indie show, indie called Evolve. And there he was paired with his very talented and very beautiful wife, Ayla Fox, and his students, very talented students. You have seen many of them on different shows, both in all companies, really. But they're known as the Skulk. Fun fact. The Skulk is the name for more than one fox. You see a group of foxes together, they are known as a Skulk. So AR Fox's stable, known as the Skulk, made up of his students, was so awesome. It started out as like a heel gimmick where like they were almost like fake gangsters. There was like a fake gang, and all they did was kind of put their hands up and like, hey! It was weird. It got a great heat though. And then eventually it got so over because the stable was just getting so lit and they were having such a good time together that they went babyface. And they were the most over crew on the entire show. They would split them up, give them sometimes 3 matches within the stable. It almost felt like it was AR Fox and friends, their show. And it wasn't a bad show. It was a take my money type of show. So yeah, I'm hoping we get a lot more of AR Fox. Once again, I would love to see him join STP, Shane Taylor Promotions. With that said, my boy Flamethrower Fox did not get the win in this one. Commander defeated AR Fox, Jack Carwheel, and Willie Mack in a 4-corner survival match. As I said, I feel like these matches have become a bit repetitive and a bit formulaic in terms of the show. You know that the show is going to have at least 2 of these matches. And I do enjoy them. It's just a little too indie-rific where I need story, I need progression, and this is the main event. Right? Like, this is the main event. What are the stakes? Commander won. Okay. Does that mean that Commander is going to get a shot at Kyle Fletcher or Eddie Kingston or anything or anyone? You know what I mean? Like, it's just all different showcase matches. And listen, if I'm just looking at it from a wrestling fan perspective, awesome. This match was off the chain. This match was a high flyer's dream. This was fast paced. This was hard hitting. This was everything you wanted and more. And these guys are 4 amazing workers. I'm a big Willie Mack fan. I love big guys who can move and do things they're not supposed to do. I talk about it every week. Jack Carwheel continues to blow my mind with how innovative he can be with his athleticism, with his cartwheels. They called it a cartwheel backbreaker. I honestly think it was because they had never seen anything like it and didn't really know exactly what to call it. It was kind of more like a cartwheel power slam. If you ever, he had him up in like that power slam position and then just boom, cartwheeled with him. I don't think I've ever seen anything like it. It's just, you know what I mean? I do think the Destroyer as a whole is definitely getting a little bit played out and probably should take a back seat. But you can't tell me that a Springboard Destroyer is not just one of the cooler things you're going to see come off those ropes. I'm sorry, but Commander Springboard Destroyer looks truly sick. But at the same time, it looks so sick it should probably finish it, right? However, I will forgive. Whenever you do a move so sick that it should be a finisher, but you don't finish it, I think it's only okay if it's because you're now going to the top rope. That's exactly what Commander did. And his, like, from the rope shooting star was absolutely sick. Also, real quick, and I hate to do it, go back to the opener, but the finisher that the Workhorsemen use, sick. I don't know where that came from, but if they keep doing that, 100% AEW is going to have to get them on Dynamite every week, Rampage, because that move is sick. Basically, JD Drake grabbed the guy in kind of an end of days, but like right before they start bringing him back for the flatliner portion of it, Anthony Henry comes in with a nice little Enziguri style head kick. Boom, just great combination. Looked absolutely vicious. I don't know if this is a sign that maybe JD, I mean, if that's the tag team finisher, theoretically JD Drake could be busting out the end of days as one of his new moves, right? Which would only make him more vicious. But I digress. Back to the main event we go. Yeah, man, this was just like excellent. I can't say enough about it. It was just excellent work from everyone. I can't say enough about how much I love AR Fox. I got to tell a story. Quick story. Basically, I was watching, it was a women's wrestling match. And it was actually, no, I'm sorry. It was a women's show. It was Shine. So every single match was women's wrestling. And it was right before an Evolve show. So the audience was just not nearly as filled as it was going to be. Because this was back when WWE was sending NXT people to Evolve shows to kind of up the ticket sales. They would do autograph signings, whatever. they wouldn't send anything to the Shine show that was going a couple hours before. So the crowd was just, you know, half full, if that, quiet. It was like 2 p.m. People were tired, you know. So all of a sudden, though, you were watching a women's match, you'd hear someone in the back start in the claps, and then we'd go with it. You hear somebody in the back kind of start a chant. And I look back, and who is it? It's AR Fox with a hoodie on, trying not to be seen, kind of standing in the shadows, almost like behind garbage cans, starting the claps, starting the chants. And he was doing this. He trained most of these women. And even the women he didn't train, he supported them. They were a family. So I will always respect AR Fox for doing that. In fact, I got up and started doing that shit too. I was like, AR Fox shouldn't be the only one. So I started walking around. I started starting the claps, starting the chants. I became almost like the unofficial hype man of that show, because I'm like, bro, if AR Fox is back here trying to get us to like care, like I do care. So let's do it. Like, those women were awesome, and most of them are on WWE or AEW television now. You know what I mean? So it just, I'm so happy to see him on Ring of Honor. I know there was talk that he had some heat because he wasn't able to go to England, and I guess he didn't tell Tony with enough time. So, you know, there were big plans for him, but he had to take a time out for a little bit. Hopefully those days are done. If anything, getting him on ROH. See, ROH is a perfect spot for AR Fox, because he needs to remind everybody how good he is. He needs that crowd to make some noise, and I think that's going to happen on Ring of Honor. Once again, STP, solid landing spot for him. Let's cross our fingers. Guys, that's going to do it for me on this week's edition of Mark of Honor. Next week, Danielle's coming back. Danielle won't be in Vegas. She's going to be here. She's going to be with me, and she's going to be with you guys. Until then, you can catch us everywhere at the Heel Marks. Tune in to the Heel Marks every single Monday, wherever you get your podcast. Or if you want to rap with us Sunday, go ahead and chill with us live. Guys, never forget, we are not just smart marks. We're Heel Marks. You guys are the best. We're just trying to be like you.